In order, ask Commissioner Stewart, please lead us in the invocation and the pledge.
Please stand and join us. Heavenly Father, we thank you for what you've given us here today, God, at our beautiful county, Lord, this week that we celebrate Thanksgiving in our country, Lord. We want to thank you for what we have here, Lord. We thank you for the citizens we're able to serve. Just ask that you give us wisdom here tonight. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Appreciate you all coming out tonight. If you'd like to speak, there's a couple of opportunities. We have a citizens to be heard either at the beginning or at the end of the meeting. Please fill out a speaker card with Miss Patty, and also you can speak on each individual agenda item if you like. Please give us a separate card for each one. Give us your name and address when you come to the microphone so the folks at home can hear you well as well. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull tab number 5 under consent and pull that in to general business. And also we have an add-on item for the selection of chairman and vice chair. I'd like to put that under my time, please.
Very good.
Like to do what with that?
Put that under my time, to bring it up at under my time.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda is modified. Second.
Motion second. Any further changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
No citizens.
No citizens for the first one. We'll go into awards and presentation.
Kelsey.
Miss Kelsey Lewis with Kinley Horn.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelsey Lewis with Kinley Horn. Today I'll be giving a presentation on giving y'all an update for the 90% plans for Masha Sands Park. So the last presentation we gave to the board was at the 30% workshop. So this is just an update to that and what changes we've made, where we're at now with the plans. So the proposed Masha Sands Park is located where the existing county park is along Masha Sands Road down in Panacea. This park was part of the 2012 Adopted Infrastructure Plan, and it was also submitted under a NERDA grant submittal. It's currently funded by DEP, and no county match is required for any of the improvements that I'm going to be talking about.
Just in case people don't know, NERDA is BP money.
Correct.
It's BP money it's paying for.
And so really the goals of the project are to create improvements to Masha Sands Park, to minimize impact to the environment, to improve user safety, pedestrian connectivity, and then also to provide ADA accessibility for users to the park. So this is the overall park improvements. Now this concept may look familiar to you. It's the same concept that was shown at the 30% workshop. It includes improvements to the boat ramp, the addition of a canoe and kayak launch, a floating dock, a new floating dock in around the same area as the previous floating dock, picnic shelters, ADA accessibility improvements, including ADA spaces for both trailer parking and park users, and a boardwalk that actually connects the east and the west portions of the park. There's also improvements that are located in our construction documents and have been included in the permit documents that aren't included on here. And the reason for that is because of funding. So based on the project funding and what the bids come back when this goes to construction, there may be additional improvements that will be included. It just depends on funding. So those additional improvements include an overlook structure, a boardwalk through wetlands, some additional parking, and additional picnic pavilion. But generally, those two things spawn off from the improvements that are shown up here on the concept plan.
No bridge.
No bridge to Merritt Island.
No bridge. No bridge, just a boardwalk to an overlook. So, but this is the general concept. Really, no major changes. In the 90% plans, we've added more detail. We've gone further in design. We've almost secured all of our permits. and that's where we're at right now. We're going to be rehabbing the restroom, minor rehab to increase ADA accessibility, and then also putting a metal roof on the building, which I'll
Is that
talk
going to match
about.
our other restroom designs, David?
As close as we can get it, yes.
Split face?
So as far as the improvements go, canoe and kayak launch, I had mentioned when we were on the concept plan slide, that's going to be a floating canoe and kayak launch. And then the boat ramp will be similar to the existing boat ramp. It'll be 40 feet wide, and it'll extend further into the channel, so the power loading issue that y'all are having now hopefully will be mitigated with this new proposed boat ramp. The floating dock structure that's out there now will be having a new floating dock structure that'll be further out into the channel, and the picnic shelters will be similar to what you see in the bottom left. We'll also be including improvements to the parking area. It'll be gravel parking area, and the entrance to the picnic side, more the trailhead side, will be a paved entrance instead of the dirt entrance that it is now. There'll also be park amenities such as picnic picnic tables, trash cans, that sort of thing, amenities for the park, and then rehab to the restroom with the metal roof and with inside elements meeting structural requirements and also ADA requirements. And so schedule and next steps, as far as where we're at now, we're at 90% plans. We've almost secured all the permits. We're waiting on one more from DEP. We'll be working on final construction plans here in the next few months going into the winter of 2017-2018. And then the procurement process will take place in the summer of 2018 with construction starting at the end of summer. You'll kind of see a big gap between procurement or between final construction plans and actual construction starting, and the reason for that is so that we don't have to stop construction or modify the phasing in order to limit work during July and August, your busy months. Any questions?
Maybe I'm missing something, but what I see is what we already have, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, yes. There's addition of the canoe and kayak launch. We're fixing some issues that we have found are current issues in speaking with folks from the county, and then also kind of revitalizing the park. But essentially, the use is going to be the same.
And the footprint of what you're saying there is pretty much the same footprint we have today.
Correct. So
What is happening out at the end of the road, where the road goes into the bay?
That's not a part of this project. That'll be another project we'll be
That's
bringing
another
forward.
project.
correct.
Okay.
So all these improvements are within that NERDA boundary that was required with the NERDA grant submittal.
You say that you're putting in a handicap kayak launch and so forth. It's sort of actually in the wrong place. It needs to be over on the other side of the road where the bridge is out. Because if you turn kayaks loose over in that section, they get out into the high water in a hurry with no barrier or anything.
We have a lot of kayakers that actually put in there where you're talking about, and we're gonna part of the next phase of the project is to do exactly what you're talking about as well. Put a kayak launch in over there near where the bridge was.
Okay.
That's right. That's the next phase.
As long as you get one over
Yep.
there, because on this side is actually wrong.
Yeah. Well, we actually get a lot of use down there with kayakers. Believe it or not.
I'm a kayaker myself, and
Yeah.
I'm there all the time, and I never see a kayak.
We have kayakers. Yeah.
Pardon?
We've had to rescue a few.
All right.
I was actually surprised they were able to spend as much money.
Yeah.
It's like $1.4 million, isn't it?
It's about 1.2.
It's a lot of money, and I was like, oh, how are you going to spend all that there? But I guess they figured out a way to do it.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Yep.
I haven't been able to coordinate with Kelsey, but I had provided recently a project update for all the NERDA projects under my responsibility, and based on Kelsey's latest opinion of probable construction costs for 90% plans, we're very confident that we'll be able to fund all the improvements that are will be designed and permitted by Kimley Horn. That includes the boardwalk to the overlook on the eastern channel, and, you know, all the improvements that are being designed and permitted. So, you know,
But
I can't commit to that absolutely, but I'm very familiar with our funding overall, and I believe we can fund everything that is being designed and permitted. And also, I wanted to add, this is a DEP project, and I've been told, and I'll talk to them again, but DEP management wants to sponsor a public meeting for this project. Now, I told them, you know, we had to defer construction because the county wants to keep the boat ramp open during the summer, you know, during the peak season, and if we start it in February or something like that, you know, it's going to be a 4 to 6 month project, probably 6 months. You know, you don't want to close the boat ramp, you know, during peak season. But they want to sponsor a public meeting. We'd probably do it in the spring, something like that. I've coordinated with some staff about where we would have it. There's something about a welcome center near the park, but DEP has decided they want to get public input. And you do have a number of residents on that road going to Mash's Sands, and they feel like they need to have we're just going to tell them this is what we're doing, you know, when we're going to do it, you know, how we're going to control traffic and that type thing. We don't want them to, you know,
Redesign it.
yeah, wake up. No, we're not going to redesign it. We're very tight on what we can do, as you all know. And also, I wanted to tell you, we had a public meeting for Shell Point again last Wednesday. I don't know if any of you know about that or not. It was something that the county wanted to do. The area residents requested the meeting. Hey, is it really going to happen this time? And when's it going to start? When will it be done? Very positive meeting. No question about the design. There was some question about relocating a palm tree. No problem. And maybe putting up some dune fencing for our very small dunes that are involved. But it was a very positive meeting. We are going to have a contract. We're going to start in January, be finished before the regatta for sure. Okay? And maybe even before the wind ceremony. But, you know, everyone's happy that we're finally getting started.
So the dunes themselves weren't a problem? I've heard some complaints about they won't be able to drive their golf cart out on the beach
Well,
anymore.
we had similar comments about golf carts, and I said, no, you'll be able, and Cody Solberg was there from the county, very, very positive, and he commented that, you know, what we're going to try to do is direct the golf cart traffic down along the picket fence where they can go along the beach itself. But, you know, we emphasize that we're, you know, installing quite a bit of marsh vegetation and other vegetation, you know, up near the road for beautification and mostly for stabilization of the sand. And we told them, yeah, we are trying to discourage the golf carts, you know, up around the gazebo. You know, I've seen golf carts drive into the gazebo. And if they do that, you know, and damage that vegetation, that seems like, you know, not a good thing or positive thing. And that people nodded their head and said they understood, you know. So, but it's up to you guys to enforce that, not DEP.
Oh, Mash's Sand, what are you going to do with the entrance to that canal? The entrance to the canal at Mash's Sand where the boat dock.
There's no dredging in this part. That's another project coming. They won't dredge.
Okay.
No.
What will you be doing to the ramp itself?
To the
Surely
what?
we got to get something in here in this spot.
40 feet wide instead
Yeah,
of
but
what we
it's
have
not,
now.
it's not the width, it's
We're extending it
it's
out
the
into the-
extension.
Yeah,
To the
Are you
water.
extending the ramp at Mash's Sand?
Yes.
I'll have to,
wider and longer.
Fine.
Wider and longer.
Right, so it'll be a 40-foot wide ramp, a little bit narrower than it is out there today.
Yeah.
But it'll be extended further into the canal by about 10 feet in order to limit power loading and, you know, to allow you to launch easier
To keep
and
from
to
dropping your
take your boat
wheels
out
off.
easier.
That's right.
Mhm. Right.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
There you go.
thank you.
Further questions?
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Kelsey, always a pleasure.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. All right.
It's all right, we did it twice.
Oh, we just approved the agenda the first time. All right, so we pulled 5, but we'll put that in general, so.
Yep.
Let's skip the consent. We'll go to,
I did.
so we're gonna move into general business,
No
item
talking
number
to me.
6.
Item number 6, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This agenda item requests board approval to authorize the county administrator to negotiate
Motion to approve.
a sale, okay, go ahead.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any citizens?
My only concern was that the county cut out the road right away and the right away for the drainage, which they did.
Very good. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item number 7.
This agenda item requests board approval of decision points presented at the November 20th, 2017 workshop we had earlier to discuss the Restore Act multi-year implementation
Motion
plan
to approve
status.
decision
Second.
points presented at the November 20th, 2017 workshop to discuss the Restore IAP status and development.
We have a motion, second by Commissioner Moore. Any citizens? Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item number 5 from consent.
Yes, this is a request for the board's approval to adopt a resolution establishing a fee for the Family Enclave annual renewals as previously directed by the board. This would reduce the fee from $410 down to $195. Staff would like to additionally offer another recommendation as part of this agenda item, which would be requesting the board direct staff to amend the ordinance relating to the Family Enclave renewals to allow for administrative approval of those renewals on an annual basis. At that point in time, if the board chooses to direct staff to do so and ultimately adopts that revision, that could further reduce the fee amount for Family Enclave renewals to $50.
Motion to approve with Summers' recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any citizens? Further discussion?
Good idea.
Very good. Thank you for that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. No public hearing tonight. Planning and zoning, item number 8.
Yes, this is a transmittal of the Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment Application CP 1701 for Cutchins Properties. This is a 160-acre parcel with a current future land use designation of agriculture. The proposed amendment would change that land use designation to Rural 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Wade Brown, for questions only. Further discussion?
Well, I'm going to have some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
In reading your description here, you have 5, one wetland and 4 depressions on the property.
Yes.
You called the depressions as being confining soils. Now, depressions with confining soils in the sandhills typically become ephemeral ponds. Are these actually confining soils, or are they just unconfined soils that the water just flows through?
Tell you what, I've got Mr. Dan Garrett who prepared that. He's the expert in that. I'll let him answer that.
Okay.
Please
It's been
give
a
us
long
your-
time since I've
your
seen
name.
you, Dan.
Well, I come around sometimes.
Straight out of Appalachia.
Exactly. This will be my 3rd commission meeting within 12 hours, so it's been fun. I've gone from one side of the state to this side, so confining using ephemeral ponds is one of those things that normally means that water's held for a period of time that it disappears.
Right.
And that's what happens in this particular case. You've got not only some sands in here, but also some clay mix. And that's obviously because gravity takes it down to a point, and it creates like this layer that's semi-pervious. So that means that water will hold, but then it'll trickle down through it.
I understand that.
Okay.
That's my question was, are these just depressions, or are they actually ephemeral ponds?
No, these are depressions, except for the one that has enough vegetation that has actually collected in there that's actually became a wetland and can support hydrophytic plants. The other ones want to do that, but they're still, I'd say, younger than the one that has like trees and stuff like that. The others have
So
herbaceous material in there, and that's
Those
about it.
sinkholes are more recent than the one.
Yeah, but we're talking about, if we talk about geological speaking,
Yeah, I know, you're talking
it's
about-
old. A good example of one that is definitely a sinkhole, there's one in a map that, I don't know if we can show that, but there's a really good distinction, or a good sinkhole that's located to the north off the site. And that one has a really, I mean, obviously a direct connection where it has surface water all the time. I don't know when that one was formed, but all of these probably been within the last 10,000 years or so.
Yeah, I'm
But,
just,
but this,
Older than Jerry.
well, I'm not going there, but
I can always count on Randy.
Poor Jerry.
but the other thing about these too is that normally you find they have a gradual slope in ephemeral areas like that, and that's what these have. And that's the reason why you're seeing that there's a discontinuity, I guess, between surface water and the groundwater. These are really deep soils, and so over a period of time allows some of this clay and stuff to mix with that, and that's what holds it.
oh yeah, over time, they'll collect fine sediments and start having an area that holds the water more. I understand that.
These
The question is as you move forward, are you going to protect these, because these are actually where the water wants to flow into our aquifer. Are you going to, and as long as they have vegetation on them, they will do the filtering and some removal of the nitrogen that we need before the water goes into the aquifer. Are you going to have protections around these areas so that inside the development, any water that flows into them, which is going to go fairly quickly in, will have some protection?
Well, by definition in the code, what kind of protection are you asking?
You know, a buffer zone around these, you know, the center of these depressions.
The center, yeah.
Well, that's,
we could-
you know, that's where the concentration is
Yeah.
going to go to. Is the center of that
Like I say,
depression.
the wetland, the only wetland on the site, the only one that holds it is like .02 area. It's like 870 square foot.
Right.
Have no trouble protecting that, and that's by some type of a buffer.
Well, I'm talking about the area around it so that people are not building down into the slopes of these.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have no problem with doing some kind of structural setback, you know, out of them, 75 foot.
That's what I
100
want
foot.
to,
Yeah.
I want to, when you come
We're
back
no
with
one's
your
going to build in
final-
them. We're going to plat so that everybody's going to stay out of those.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure that you
Okay.
bring that, when you bring it forward. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want a house built over top of one of those. So. I mean, I don't think they want to sell one either.
I want everybody that buys those parcels understand what they're getting.
Right.
Because a lot of people come in and buy those and not realize that that's an old sinkhole.
Yeah.
And it can easily open up again, and so you don't want to be close to
So
it.
you're looking just, you want to prevent some catastrophic, if somebody builds you don't want to build a house on an area that's going to, even though it may not be an A-zone flood zone, it actually will flood.
It actually will flood.
I have a spot behind my house that's A-zone, but when it rains hard, it'll hold water for 6 months probably.
And it'll be dry for years.
It'd be bone dry, you couldn't dig a pond there to save your life, but it's just pipe clay and it just holds the water. Right.
Very good. Further discussion? Hear none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
The next application this evening is for a change of zoning R1712.
And this is a quasi-judicial item, so in accordance with Section 24.01 of the code, each commission member needs to disclose any context they've received regarding this item. Commissioner Hess?
None.
Commissioner Moore?
No.
None.
None.
Talk to staff.
If there's anyone here who's going to provide any information on this application, please stand up to be sworn, including the applicant.
Jessica?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. You want to speak?
You don't have to.
Okay, very good. Further discussion? Hear none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Good job.
That was easy. Item number 10.
This is an application for change of zoning R1713.
This is also a quasi-judicial item, so please disclose any contacts you may have received. Commissioner Hess?
None.
Commissioner Moore?
None.
None.
I actually did talk to Parrish and Chris Beatty about this. Motion to approve.
Hold on, please. If there's anybody here who's going to provide any information, including the applicant, please stand up to be sworn. You guys are still sworn.
Very good.
Our motion stands, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any citizens? Further discussion?
Well, I can say I spoke against this when they switched it, so switching it back makes me happy. No-
Very good. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Gene, you ain't never seen a meeting go smooth, have you?
That ends our planning and zoning. We have no commissioner agenda items. County attorney.
Nothing this evening.
County Administrator.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to,
Mr. Administrator, I'd make a recommendation that Chairman Ralph Thomas continue in that capacity and Mike Stewart continue in the capacity of Vice Chairman.
do I have a second for that motion?
Let me talk about that first. Do you
I
not
need
want
it-
to be chairman? Huh?
You want to have a
Can't talk
second?
about it?
We've got to have a second before we can do discussion.
I'll second for discussion then.
Rules of the road. All right, now, open for discussion.
Ralph, I think you've done an excellent job. Let me first say that. But traditionally, this position rolls over. I was chairman. I would have just assumed stay chairman, but that's just not the way it's supposed to work. You've done a very good job for 2 terms.
I appreciate it.
Mike is up next, though, and I just personally think, let's just keep going along, because otherwise Chuck's never going to be vice chair or chair. I'll never be anything but this, and I think we need, I think it's healthy.
You'll always be something. to me.
Well, I'm not, I've told you I have no interest in being chairman because I can't make a motion or a second, so
Hey, I'm good with the will of the board, either.
I would recommend
Let
we
me-
have Mike chairman and Chuck actually vice chair.
Let me go into this. I chose not to ever be chairman, so it's not tradition goes from one person to the other. I think basically my feeling is that Ralph's position in the state and the number of committees and his position in the state, I don't think this is nothing to do with Mike, but I don't think there's anybody that's better to serve the board in Wakulla County than Ralph is, as he is working in the state.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm also on the CRTPA. I was chair of that. That's a regional group. I'm current chairman of the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. It does not hurt you to not be chairman of the board.
I think you're very good at that position, and you've helped us very much, and because you've been on that position for several years, you've helped us there.
I don't want to be put in a position to vote against Ralph. Ralph, I guess,
Hey, I'm good. Like I said, I'm good either way, and as long as you guys are willing, I'm gonna keep serving at the state level and doing
Yeah,
everything I
absolutely.
can.
Nothing needs to
advocate
change with that.
on behalf of the county.
but I
so-
think we do need to change every once in a while on this board, and that's, again, not a reflection in any way, shape, or form. You've done an excellent, excellent job.
No, I appreciate it.
I'd like to hear what, I'm fine either way. I'm fine to
And nobody's going to
hear
say
or
anything
it
other than
doesn't-
that.
It doesn't matter to me.
No, that's
I
good.
think Jerry makes a good point in that it helps when you go represent us, Ralph, in the positions that you represent us in, to be able to say, I'm the chairman of the board. I think that carries some weight with it, and I certainly don't mind while you're still serving in the capacity you serve in as a president
I
of
think,
the county and
yeah.
whatever, but, so I'm fine either way. Now, I'd like to hear what Chuck has to say, because he's,
See, I'm with Randy on this, it should be rotating through the board, and if you don't want to do it, that's fine, okay? And then, you can skip that, but it should be rotating through the board.
That's why I removed myself from vice chair, because I knew I was never going to be chair. So I said, I'm going to remove remember I said that, I'm going to remove myself, let somebody else be vice chair so they can move on to chair. And I'd like to see it move on. Again, Ralph,
No, it's
I was
nothing
chairman,
personal.
I would have
I'm
liked to
good.
have been state chairman at the time, but
Hey,
I think
I've
it's
done it
healthy.
for 3 years. I think that's a pretty long stretch,
think it's-
but I'm good staying. I'm good going.
I think it's healthy to rotate.
I will
the
add this to that. I think Ralph, he hasn't announced or anything, but I think he has a very good chance of moving on up, maybe to state representative.
He has now then.
And, well, I think he has, but, well, that's okay.
I've made no promises.
No, he hasn't done that, but he knows all the county commissioners in the Northwest Florida district. He knows a huge number of people statewide. So I think he's got a very good chance of maybe when Halsey moves out, that Ralph can move up. And I think being chairman helps him in that endeavor. So
Here.
Okay.
that's,
Say it needs to move on.
Any further discussion?
yes, I'd like to make a motion. That's not been seconded, so.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
Oh, it
yeah.
has?
He's got a second.
I seconded it for discussion. I'll withdraw it. So if you want to,
I'd like to make a new motion.
Okay.
We leave Ralph as the chairman and appoint Chuck as the vice chairman.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine with me.
Second by Commissioner Merritt. Any discussion?
yes, I'd like to say that what I've set up here tonight has nothing to do with Mike.
Oh,
It's,
You hurt my feelings.
I just want to be able to sit on the end of the table.
And again, I just want to be part of the team. I mean, if we need to rotate, I'm perfectly 100% fine, and I'm gonna keep doing what I've
The
been
only
doing.
reason I said that Mike's up for it,
Yeah.
if he wants to defer or not do it, that's fine. I don't have any problem with the job you're doing, none. But I don't think being chairman, helps in any other way. In fact, it may actually hinder it because you can't actually get anything done. You can't make motions, very few agenda items, and you're running a meeting. And I think in a small group like ours, the chairman should be an active participant, but I've already made that argument several times.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Jerry vote against it?
Appreciate it.
Did I catch it?
I keep working.
Seeing if you're paying attention.
There's unanimous.
We wanna
Is the,
do this now, the vice chair, or
Richard
or the
Don't wait,
next
gotta
meeting?
get sworn in.
Next meeting, we'll swear everybody in next meeting.
is the, committee assignment coming up after that, or? is
I said here because I can't hear well.
Now, Chuck, the committee assignments are only for vacant positions.
Committee meetings,
Yeah,
Jessica?
I was just wondering if Jerry wanted to still go into the
Next.
scenic byways meetings.
The what?
Scenic
You
byways.
bringing that the
That'll
next
be,
meeting?
that'll be the next
No.
meeting.
Well, we can discuss
Yeah,
that during
yeah.
discussion items tonight.
Yeah,
That way
yeah.
we can give direction.
Because, I mean, there's a couple of committees that I would like to be on, TDC, but Ralph likes that one. So, but scenic byway,
No, I don't have any desire to be on that.
and so I would be interested in being on the scenic byway committee.
And I also recommended to Jessica, if you guys don't have a problem with the small county coalition, because I know Chuck has attended a couple of those,
Right.
to be the alternate there.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Any other?
Who's my alternate at CRTPA, and I've never needed
don't-
one.
I don't know, there is an alternate on that, is there?
Hold on, let me look it up.
I think at one time I was,
I think you were too.
yeah,
But I've never missed a meeting,
yeah.
so,
So you've denied me of the pleasure.
that's right. Either I've saved them from the grief. Either way you look at it. Two ways to look at it, Jerry.
I'm not sure. Let's see, how many years you've been on that? I think we might ought to make a change.
Since the beginning.
Which one, the CRT?
CRTPA.
I think Jerry, I'm pretty sure Jerry's alternate.
Yeah, I
Unless-
was, yeah.
It'd have to be.
I have the senior center also, transportation.
You're the chair of that, right, Jerry? The transportation?
Probably, yeah.
It's no big deal.
Hold on. Or,
I don't have an alternate for the Regional Planning Council, I don't think.
So you got two proposed changes tonight, small county coalition and scenic byways, is that right?
Is there any other things, and I'm the audit committee person now, right? I think we voted
Right.
on that. Are there any other committees that aren't attended or something? I think everybody goes to their committees they're supposed to go to.
When should we change the audit committee? Because you'll be up for elections next.
I guess I'm on it till I don't.
And
No
you're
longer
on the
here.
canvassing board too, right?
Well,
Canvassing board is the one.
I hope I'm on it, Heather, don't curse it.
If you're up for election,
If you're unopposed, you can be on it.
well, yeah.
So there you go. So don't say
So leave it.
you can't be on it. Thanks, Heather.
So-
So any other changes for Jessica while we're discussing?
Now, the good thing about Canvas Board, they have very good food, but you gotta be there late for all these counting things. Mr. Buddy's very meticulous.
Very good. Anything further? County
Just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and hopefully our staff will rest. They need it, as we're talking to Commissioner Stewart earlier. It used to be you could really kind of coast in the holiday period, but not anymore. Thankfully, we're all busy as we can be. So it's been a good year. We're very thankful of where we are, and I'm thankful of the staff and to the citizens of this county.
One meeting in
We've
December,
all
right?
done great. One board meeting, yes.
Very
So,
good.
thank you, staff.
My
Thank you.
kids didn't get here enough time to make me introduce them.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry just made a big announcement. Where's the newspaper? Ralph's running for state representative, is what Jerry said.
No, Ralph didn't say that, though.
That's what Jerry said.
Ralph didn't say it.
All right, citizens to be heard? None. Discussion items from commissioners? Chuck?
Nope, I'm good.
Garrett?
I had, I was going to have a sheet here with me tonight to just go over charities and how much the charities spend on the charity and how much they give to the people. One of them that I can remember, I was going to have Virginia bring it to me. United Way, we all contribute to the United Way. They give a dime out of every dollar. 90% of the money donated to United Way goes for operations. And their CEO is like a $2 million something CEO. And there's a bunch of programs like that. The American Legion is a very good one. They do about 15% of theirs is operating, and 85% goes to the people. But I would have had that sheet, but I just wanted to get out that United Way only gives a dime of every dollar to the people. It's
Jerry, why don't you just make the recommendation that if you're going to give money to a charity, to investigate what their operating overhead is.
Salvation Army is probably, they give 100% of their money. Ronald McDonald House does the same thing. I'll have that sheet next meeting. But you just need to look at these people who are asking you for money, especially on the telephone. They're marketing people. They get paid for what they do, and I guess they deserve it, but they need to give more than a dime out of a dollar.
Yeah. One thing I have, right now the state constitution is being looked at for revision. I think there are over 100 proposals right now. They haven't progressed very far so far, but that's being vetted. So you guys just keep an eye on that. We know the Constitution revision can be a good thing, can also be a bad thing. That's how we lost our nets during the net ban. We've got things in the Constitution that mandate protections for pregnant pigs, and some things that should probably, in my opinion, should be dealt with at the legislative level can be thrown into that Constitution, and once it's in there, it's very hard to get it out. So guys, just keep an eye on that and see what survives that process and what we'll be voting on next year. That's all I have.
One item, motion to adjourn.
I stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight. 37 minutes, not too bad.